Zipang!
Banga banga bong, yeah, man.
So, that joke out of the way, and I hope I don't make it again in this episode. Anime Reflux. Hello, everybody. We're doing Zipang as the show. That's what we're doing.
Zipang.
Now, last week, I wouldn't be surprised if I said, hopefully, I wouldn't have been surprised if I said that this sounded interesting last week. An interesting premise. It'd be cool to see where they go with it. Yeah, I'm disappointed not by where they went with it, but the fact that they haven't gone anywhere with it yet.
It really was like
So
25 minutes of nothing.
Setup. Yeah.
it was a lot of fluff and a lot of stuff that we are not Japanese natives. We are not Japanese natives that are also military buffs. A lot of this stuff just does not appeal to us or is interesting to us. And to be honest, if you're writing a story, maybe have the main crux of your story happen a little bit earlier if everything else isn't that interesting for everyone but a select audience.
Yeah, you say like not military buffs. That's true, but also I feel like that wasn't like that might have been the only thing that was really there.
True.
But it was the only thing that was really there because it was interspersed with like 15 to 20 second still shots of literally nothing happening.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, this show was paced terribly, at least in the first episode. It makes a terrible first impression.
Oh. Hey guys, war is bad. Who were the bad guys? I don't know. Well, maybe Hitler's a good start.
Yeah, that's what was like part of the interesting part of the premise for this was it's modern day Japan who are a touch xenophobic, but still generally considered a decent democratic modern day nation. But this is modern day Japanese military going back to the time where they were one of the Axis powers and allied with Hitler.
But of course, that only happens in the cliffhanger.
Like,
I mean, what do we even recap from this episode? We get...
Well, there is one thing I really particularly want to note, but we can really just run through the recap pretty quickly. They are at a military school. They are giving lectures because they are, actual naval officers at this point. The main characters, who all look almost identical, except one has glasses. One has the anime eyes where he doesn't have sclera, so it's just pink and no white of his eyes. And that's literally it. I couldn't tell the difference between them aside from that at all.
This character is eloquent. This character is stern.
This character is a southern weirdo, stereotype for some reason.
I can sum this up very easily. 3 people who work on a ship and they're teaching, and then a reporter comes, they talk to the reporter, then they will go run some drills, and then boom, somehow time travel storm, now they're back in World War II.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the gist of it.
That's basically it, yeah.
Also, there's a flashback where the father tells his son, I don't know who the bad guys were, son. Despite the fact that the Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has stated on multiple occasions that the country acknowledges that it caused tremendous damage and suffering during World War II.
Yep.
That Japan has repeatedly said, yeah, we did a bad.
Well,
lots of
they have
non-combatants were
repeatedly
killed.
said, yeah, we did a bad, but not all of the bad. Like the Chinese rape camps were, we don't
Yeah,
acknowledge these
the
accusations.
raping, the looting, the cannibalism, the human
And
experimentation, the massacre, the starvation, the forced labor. Like that. No, I don't know who the bad guys were, son.
if I may, telling the kid that, yeah, this big war happened, a lot of people died, and we were the bad guys in it, I suppose that that's not something that you want to tell your kid.
I'd argue if you're a responsible parent, you probably would tell them anyway, but that's
Yeah.
a different debate, probably.
I feel that my qualm is not necessarily with what you chose to tell the kid, but why they chose to include that scene.
The whole reason was to emphasize that the kid recognizes the battleship Yamato, I believe it was,
Yes.
and that's the exact same battleship that comes up against them in the final scene, and he identifies it as such. But really,
You could have
there's
done that in many different ways.
yeah,
And it's not like it's not a famous ship. But there is one thing I want to call out is they go to like I don't know what it is, but it's like a military history museum or something where they claim to have Why would a Japanese military history building have Lord Nelson's hair? Did I mishear that?
I don't know. I was watching the subtitles. I just skimmed over that much myself. It just seemed like those double doors led to a mausoleum, and they were outside giving their respects to heroes before them or martyrs before them.
I
I
mean,
don't know what it was.
yeah, but Lord Nelson from like the Battle of Fort Napoleon, British. Why Japan though? I don't know. Like I was watching the dub, so maybe that was a dub conversion. But that's a really weird choice.
Very.
Yet I don't see a Lord Nelson's hair. Just going over it again.
I think it might have been
I don't know.
Admiral Nelson that they said, but he's more colloquially known as Lord Nelson in this country.
There's such a, for lack of a better term, and probably this is the best term, propaganda feeling to a lot of this. And I get that the mangaka or director behind this really likes Japan a lot.
I mean, let's be real. Japan are about as nationalistic as America are currently.
Yep.
So,
yeah. And
you know,
I understand that. At the same time, it is a case where I'm pretty sure everyone agrees that Hitler was the bad guy. But
yeah.
maybe that's just me with a limited worldview.
At the same time, yeah, Hitler was the bad guy. Hitler wasn't also the boots on the ground military forces. Is the angle that they're taking with this specifically? They're
True.
looking at the forces that actually served in the war. And
Yeah.
I don't know who the bad guys were, is the message, because if you're boots on the ground, you probably don't know who the bad guys were.
That's a valid perspective. I don't know. It still feels really weird.
Yeah, I feel like that's a feeling you're not gonna escape in, from a Western perspective. Well, not even just a Western perspective, but from an allies nation perspective of an Axis nation's perspective. Like, we can't have the same kind of reaction that was probably intended from this because we are just colored so heavily by no, they were absolutely the bad guys. No one was like, there's no, like, this isn't the, what was the name of the defense, the just following orders thing. I forget what it was called.
Don't get me wrong, war is terrible, and everybody does awful things in war. That much is true.
Nuremberg, that was it. The Nuremberg defense. You can't just say just following orders. That doesn't work. Like, that was the thing. So we look at that and just say, yeah, no, soldiers don't get an excuse. But this is told from the Japanese side where, yeah, that's okay, but how the fuck was I supposed to know is kind of the idea I think they're trying to get across, or will eventually when they actually get to telling the story, which they didn't do in the first episode.
Yeah. From the description, it's they travel back in time and then they save a Japanese commander or captain who was supposed to have died,
Mm.
and then things just spiral from there. I don't know which direction this story is going.
Well, I mean, I looked at the preview after the credits, but it wasn't really conclusive. If we've been sent back to the Battle of Midway, I think it was, this is a warship. What better way to test it out than in a war? That's the gist of what the preview said.
Yeah, which is oof. Like, I'm pretty sure you ask any military officer and they will say, "What the fuck did that guy just say?" No, you do not fire on a target when you don't know what's going on. So, yeah.
So, anything else to say here? I feel like it would have been a lot better if we had covered the first 2 episodes, but what's done is done.
Yeah. I mean, for as bad a first impression as this show gave, I was considering watching another episode because I was still curious about the premise because it's that interesting a premise.
Yes, agreed.
But the fact that I still didn't is kind of telling when we had like an extra week to do so.
Yeah. The plot has a great hook, but the first episode just really doesn't.
Hmm. It's for some reason I decided I really, really, really wanted to use a fishing metaphor there because you said plot hook. So it's like a fisherman that just keeps trying to tease the fish and just keeps pulling the hook away. To the point where he just loses the fish because it gets bored or something. I don't know. The metaphor fell apart. I don't fish. I'm sorry, it's Sunday night. I'm kind of lost it at the moment.
Well, looking through the Wikipedia page for the episodes, I found a sentence which makes me feel a little bit better about this. Although I don't know how this will actually play out. He reminds them that they are not of this era and that it is best that Japan lose the war to awaken her people from the allure of imperialism and militarism. Even if the defeat costs the lives of millions, is necessary to shock the Japanese people into rejecting the military dictatorship so that Japan could prosper for the next 100 years. Seems to be where it's going.
Yeah. That sounds less interesting, but at the same time, dude has a level head on his shoulders.
So it seems like they're going to want to change the word to save lives, but then you'd be like, no, we have to lose this war, though. And there's a conflict there, which seems like it could be interesting.
Hmm.
You know, the thing I was worried about was it going, but what if we win, though?
But at the same time, it's just the let's kill Hitler debate from the Japanese perspective of let's not lose the war, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose so. Hmm.
It's just kind of the same thing with all the names changed around.
Well, you want to roll a new one?
Sure.
Okay. There were 26, right?
Yes.
I just rolled a 26.
So that is
Numbers. Give me just a second to make sure that there haven't been any new cues added.
Well, do we have a new cue?
It's still loading.
Where are my cue cards?
You know, is this
Chang Nang as
yes,
Jin
that.
Shi Weng Yue. And that looks like it's the only new things. If they're new, I don't know what they are.
Chang Nang, if that's how you pronounce it, that is new, actually.
Oh, okay.
So, I guess I'll put that back on. We'll keep it at numbers this week for simplicity, but next week Q will be back on the table.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Cool.
So, for the numbers, we have 14 options left. No. Yeah, I miscalculated there. 12 options left. Zero.
I hit the unmute button and then it's still muted. Number 8.
All right, number 8. Let's take a look. 4, 5, 6, 7. This one is called 3x3 Eyes.
Okay. We didn't do this one, did we?
I do. This one.
3x3 Eyes is the story of a young man named Yakumo Fuji who through a strange series of events becomes the immortal slave of the last of a race of three-eyed immortals. The immortal absorbs his soul to save his life, making him immortal in the process. Now he begins a journey with the female immortal in an attempt to find a way of becoming human. I've repeated the synopsis because it's dumb and this website is broken. Of course, there are many complications along the way, not the least of which being that the immortal is a female with a split personality, one achingly cute and the other being no-nonsense destructive power, and the romance that develops between them. Okay.
7 episodes, released in 1991.
So...
Yeah, aired in 1991. It's an OVA with 4 episodes, 30 minutes apiece.
4?
Yep, only 4.
It shows 7 here.
Oh, wow. Well, the my anime list has 4 episodes listed. So that might be the sequel. Which has 3 episodes. So
that's just the full lot. This is just reminding me of the aboleth from that one Puffin Forest video. And that.
Oh, hey guys!
Oh, get our visitors down here.
That's great.
If it's anything like that, I'm down. Yeah, okay. Romance with an aboleth.
Okay. 3x3 Eyes, though. That's what we're doing next week.
All right. Well,
holy shit! It basically is an aboleth. It's an immortal creature that just kind of fucking eats him at one point and absorbs him and.
Vor. Anyways.
Yeah.
We have ourselves an anime, and we'll be back next time watching How to Train Your Aboleth.
My little aboleth can't be this cute. All right.
High School 3x3.
Oh, God. Okay. All right, let's fucking cut it. All right, bye, everybody.
Bye.